Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be super practical because I am giving you 15 ways to start your therapy session as a therapist. I was inspired to make this video based off of a Reddit thread where therapists were sharing how they start their sessions, and I was fascinated by all the different ways that therapists choose to open sessions and just the different opinions that come with it. So I'm talking about like that first sentence that you say to your client once they are in front of you. I am not talking about how to do an intake or how to like start with a brand new client, because that question is probably going to look a little bit different, especially if you've never met. So this is just a run-of-the-mill, how do you start your session video, but I thought it would be super helpful because one, as therapists, I think we get really stuck in our ways of just always saying the same thing again and again to start things off. And so it can be fun to get new ideas, but also if you are interviewing for a clinical mental health program and you might have to do a role play, I think this could be a really good video to watch all the way through. I'm gonna have a couple tips at the end. And even if you were just in grad school, maybe you're getting into your practicum or your internship, it can be so overwhelming to start a session. Usually once you're in the flow of things with the client, you're not overthinking as much, but the beginning is where we can get into our heads and kind of play that mental game. So I hope that this helps. I would love it if you left a comment of what your favorite one-liners are, or if you like really like any of these or maybe really hate any of them. I know there's a couple on the list that I would not be brave enough to use, but that therapists were saying that that's their go-to. So if this sounds like it would help you, just keep watching. Hello, my name is Allyssa Powers, and I created this YouTube channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't, so you can thrive in the mental health field. I would love it if you would subscribe. A lot of us around here are therapists. I personally am an LPCCs, and I absolutely love connecting with the therapy curious grad students and therapists alike. So you're in the right place if you are any of those things. Now let's get right into it because I don't want this to be too long, but just stating a couple little things at the beginning of this video. I think it is best practice when opening a session to always ask an open-ended question and to always let it be client-led. So you don't want to feed your client a topic unless you are like, maybe you have a really specific treatment plan or you're doing EMDR or you're like right in the middle of something. You want to ask something open-ended because you never know, they could have had a really intense session last week, but that topic might no longer be the most important thing to them. So I'm going to give you 15 different ideas, and you can let me know in the comments below what you're gonna try, what you loved, what you hated, and let's get into it. Starting off with number one. What feels most important to you today? Number two, how is your mental health? Number three, where should we begin? That's definitely an Esther Perel thing. Number four, give me a rose and a thorn. So if you haven't heard of that, that's like, tell me something good from the week, tell me something bad from the week. I'm a little iffy on that one just because I think that typically their thorn would be the thing that they want to get into and they might not be ready at that point to get into it, but I like the creativity and that might be a good one for teens and kids. Number five, most controversial on the list in my opinion, is using silence. So many people said that they use silence to start the session. I personally, that is not my jam. I of course did telehealth, so I feel like, what, would I just log in and just stare? I don't know that that would work, but silence is a wonderful therapeutic technique that a lot of people like really swear by, and it is something that I do believe could be used in the right way. But that's one that will not be on my list of things to try. Number 6, asking a scaling question. So kind of like a temperature check-in on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best you've ever felt. How have you been feeling this week? Personally, I wouldn't do that one just because I find that clients have a really hard time averaging that number and kind of generalizing, and it just becomes a frustration. I used to ask a question like that in my intake form, and I found that clients really didn't like it, but people were saying that that was helpful for them. So scaling questions can be good. Number 7, checking in from last session. Now, I actually think this can be done in the right way if what they were talking about was something that was a big deal or something that you know they've been like waiting for this to happen. So maybe they applied to grad school and you want to say, hey, how'd your interview go? Hey, how'd that funeral go? Hey, if it was something really big, if you just breeze over it, that might not be the best thing. But I also truly believe that clients are going to guide you into what is most important to them. So take that with a grain of salt. Number 8, I really like this one. As you can hear, I probably need to do this one. I am 36 weeks pregnant, so I'm like permanently out of breath. But doing a little deep breathing to start the session, like taking a few deep breaths with your client, I love that. I know that's not necessarily a question, but I think that could be really centering for a lot of clients that have a hard time like releasing tension in their bodies. So I love that. That might be on my list of things to try. Number 9, what do you want to focus on today? Number 10, what are the updates? I know that's one that I have used a lot, especially once you have good rapport with a client. You know that they have certain updates for you and you want to find out what they are. Number 11, this one is maybe a little bit more for kids, teens, adolescents, but I do like this analogy. Describe your mood as a forecast. So like a weather forecast. So is your mood rainy, stormy? Is it sunny out? Is it bright? Is it chilly? I like that because I think especially for teens and kids, they do really well with analogies like that. Okay, another one for teens and kids, number 12. If your feelings were an animal, what animal would it be? I also love that because I have a toddler boy and I read to him so much, and like animals are the thing. Every book seems to have trains, dinosaurs, animals. I guess dinosaurs are animals, water creatures, just like the animal propaganda is heavy when you are a kid. So I feel like that would be a really good question for a kid and they could like relate to that quite a bit. I also love the next one, number 13, which is using a feelings wheel or those emoji charts to have a kid or a teen check in about how they are feeling. So you've probably seen the feelings wheel. It's really colorful. That can definitely be used with adults. A feelings wheel for kids might need to be more simplified because there's a lot of words on there that a kid is not going to understand. But the emoji charts are also really colorful, eye-catching, and a kid would have no issue resonating with, seeing the actual face. So I think that could be good for teens, kids, and adults, honestly. Number 14, what is one thing that you would like to walk away with today? I like that. It's a little solutions focused for you. And then lastly, number 15, what are you bringing to session today? So if you are a therapist, you are going to build rapport with your specific caseload and know what works and doesn't work. Like I said, for me, silence would be super awkward, right? I think clients wouldn't like that. To be honest, if my therapist did that, I don't know if I would like that. But you are going to know your demographic. If you work with kids, starting with a super solutions focused question is probably not going to be super fun to them. You know, if you say, what are you bringing to session today? They might not resonate with that. Some teens might, but some kids might be like, what are you talking about? So know that you know your clientele best. And then just a couple bonus tips, because I think that this can be so dependent on, you know, where your clients are at. But I just wanted to say, for more critical clients, or maybe if you work with a lot of like PTSD, depression, trauma, people who are carrying a lot in their bodies, just know that you might need to resource your clients first before you just get into any sort of really therapeutic content. I know I had some clients that really needed a lot of small talk before we got into a session. They needed to talk about what the weather was like, not emotionally for them, but just like actual weather or finding the parking spot or things like that. Or they needed the silly putty, the coloring book, the Uno cards, a fidget toy. It is different for different clients, and we can't just expect every client to just jump right in. You just don't know where, you know, exactly they're going to be at. So that can be great. And then I also wanted to put a little disclaimer that you do not want to ask anything that's forcing them to be overly positive. So I saw on this thread that not a lot, but some people were saying like, tell me a win from your week or tell me something good. You know, if a client's super depressed and near suicidal, they don't have anything good to tell you, and that's probably just going to make them feel worse. So you don't want to force false positivity, and you don't want to project that that's an expectation you have. They should feel free to show up in their like worst form. Because that's what we're holding space for. So while it's a wonderful thing, like the rose and thorn thing, I like because there's a little more balance to it. But at the same time, I don't think I would personally ever use that, because some clients unfortunately don't have a rose and they're not going to. And that's why they're seeing you. So I hope that you found this helpful. Hopefully my out of breathness is not too distracting for you, and my dishwasher going. My dogs are actually behaving for once. One of them's right there. But if you like this kind of content, please subscribe, stick around. I have an NCE guide on my website. I have CEs coming. I am so excited. I'm in the process right now of getting approved to be an NBCC CE provider, and it is just lighting me up inside. So I make videos every other Monday. By the time you see this one, hopefully I have had my baby, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.